There is a great deal of superstition lurking amongst the hills and mountains of the Carpathians that spread themselves across ancient Transylvania. But for most people, the image of Bran Castle, this medieval fortress standing tall amidst the valley below, will evoke one name and one name only: Terry Wogan. Sorry, I mean Count Dracula. And though Bram Stoker never actually visited Romania, he based his story off descriptions of the castle and the vampiric myths he found in an 1885 essay called Transylvania Superstitions by Emily Gerard. And I quote, "Transylvania might well be termed the land of superstition, for nowhere does this curious crooked plant of delusion flourish as persistently and in such bewildering variety. It would almost seem as though the whole species of demons, pixies, witches and hobgoblins, driven from the rest of Europe by the wand of science, had taken refuge within this mountain rampart, well aware that here they would find secure lurking places, whence they might defy their persecutors yet a while." Journal entry. Adam Davis, 10th Feb. Left Brasov on the 9th to arrive early next morning in Bran. I find this district amidst two mountains, in the mists of the Carpathians, one of the wildest and least known portions in all of Europe. And Count Dracula himself has directed me to the Casa Christa Hotel, which I found to be thoroughly close to his home, Bran Castle. Cue the music. The first thing that greets you at the castle is just the sheer commodification of this fantastical myth. It's a bit like going to Disneyland, but with a fairy tale castle that bombards you with souvenirs from hauntingly timeless stories. So yeah, it's exactly like Disneyland. The castle is nestled between two mountains that were often confused by the local Saxons for Shakira's small and humble breasts. The merchants entering Transylvania from the now historic Wallachia would have had to have paid tax, something that also would have not have pleased Shakira. Before this castle was built somewhere between 1438 and 1442, it was a simple wooden fort. Rock, of course, provides a much greater defence from the Ottoman Empire, and scissors. I'm here to meet historian and tour guide Mateo to learn more about the castle's history and where the intentionally blurry line between myth and reality meet. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for meeting me. This is amazing. So back then it was a very different Romania.
Oh yes, like England, Scotland and Wales together is the Kingdom of Great Britain.
Yeah.
At that time they were separated, just like England, Scotland and Wales. Now it's the Kingdom of Great Britain. At that time it was Moldova, Transylvania and Wallachia. Now it's Romania, but it used to be a kingdom, and it was the Kingdom of Greater Romania. All
Right.
three provinces united, just like England, Scotland and Wales.
Should we look around?
Please, let's take a look around. So we will begin the tour.
The interior of the castle is full of dark Gothic passages that lead to well-preserved, beautiful and fancily furnished rooms, so it's got a bit of a Batman Bruce Wayne thing going on. The tour also delves into all the people who used to live at the castle, that guy, him there, and considering how old the castle is, it's actually quite a lot of people. It'd be weird if we did this with our homes, wouldn't it? The most recent people to live there was Queen Marie of Romania and her daughter, Princess Liana. You can check out their lovely dress sense, perv a little bit on their bedrooms if you fancy it, and peruse some of the amazing historical artifacts. As with a lot of places in Romania, it was actually seized by the communists at one point, but is now back in the hands of the royal heirs. It's very informative and also delves into the castle's medieval history.
They had archers and ballistar. Archers, we all know what they used to do, and ballistar comes from the ballistic terminology. Ballistar, at the beginning they had big rocks. Before cannons and gunpowder, they had classic system of big rocks, hot oil, hot water, not oil for cooking, hot black tar to penetrate the armor and to stop the enemies.
There's also a lot of interest on a special little guy known as the Impaler, Vlad the Impaler. This special little guy was responsible for around 80,000 deaths, which, considering the population difference back then, would have been like killing over 1 million people these days, which is a strange kind of inflation, I'll give you that. But his sadism wasn't just in the sheer amount he killed, but in the way he would torture them. He'd hoist them up on pikes to let them slowly die before they reached the bottom of the pole, before drinking their blood, and even cooking and eating them. That being said, it was all a bit murdery back then, so comparably, probably quite a nice guy.
So he came and he had a campaign against all the thieves in the mountains. He captured them and he impaled all of them. Since then, the name of the street nearby, it's the Street of the Thieves. Not because we have lots of thieves today, but because he impaled all the thieves on one side and the other side of the road.
So he really was quite into impaling.
Oh yeah.
Wow, what a beast. So this is the view to the courtyard, right?
Yes, we are now at the 3rd floor, and it's the most spectacular part of the castle with the view.
The view's amazing. So, and you can see the mountain there as well. So it would have been built in between two mountains. Is that for military purposes?
Of course, and that's the name of the castle. Actually, Bran means gate, door.
Really?
Yeah, it's the gorge, and the castle was meant to keep an eye on the pass and to control and stop the merchants and also the invaders.
So it's not just a beautiful castle, it's actually quite formidable as a defensive base.
Of course, and
Yeah.
imagine that during the time of Dracula, it was the castle that was keeping an eye on the enemies and the place where he used to collect taxes to support his army.
And just to explain to people at home, when you say Dracula, that was Vlad the Impaler's nickname at the time.
Yes.
Before Bram Stoker came along.
Before Bram Stoker, Dracula exists.
Yeah.
Because we talked before, he's not a fictionary character. Count Dracula in Bram Stoker's story, it's the vampire that was invented by Bram Stoker, but the name, the character exists as Vlad Dracula III Basarab, or better known in Romania as Vlad the Impaler, because he had this brutal habit to impale people in a wooden stake.
So why Dracula? Does it mean something in Romania?
Oh yeah. But that's the reason Bram Stoker chose this character. He could have chosen any other name in the world. But in a Gothic story, the most important ingredient, if you want to scare people, if you want to have a vampire that will be famous, it has to be a mysterious, scary name. You cannot name your vampire, I don't know, Mario or Luigi.
Am I right that it means son of the devil?
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
That's the reason. When you are a writer and you want to write a book about the monster, if you find a name like the son of the devil, but jackpot. You don't have to be a good writer. It's the best. It's actually the opposite of the son of God.
So how do you feel then as a historian that a castle with such a rich history in Romania is now sort of being remembered for something that didn't exist, for Dracula the vampire?
Well, it's after so many movies in Hollywood and so many other new movies like True Blood, Twilight.
Yes, vampires are very in at the moment, aren't they?
So at one point we don't even know if they don't exist or they are real or not.
Do you have some secret information we don't know?
Well, I don't know. I do know, for instance, that there are people in this world that they are really into this story. Goth people, or there are lots of vampires, for instance, in Louisiana, that they declare themselves vampires.
It just occurred to me that you were saying that you'd worked here about 20 years. You must have met all sorts coming through here, right?
Oh yes, for sure. And
any stories about people who've come and told you that they're vampires or anything?
Oh, they were a couple, and I think they claimed that they were from Bathory family. Bathory, it's a family that really exists with Elizabeth Bathory. She was the one that invented Iron Maiden.
No, really? Yeah.
Not the band, the rock band. the box. She used to bathe in blood of young virgins. She used to collect the blood of like 25 victims.
As you do.
And she used to bathe in blood. She thought she will stay young forever.
Stay young.
So this couple, they came here, they stayed at the hotel nearby.
Yeah.
They stayed like couple months, and they used to come every evening to have the dinner at our restaurant, at Draculas Castle restaurant.
Yeah.
And they were kind of strange, but in a nice way, because they were dressed in black and they were looking very pale. I don't know how they were looking like that, but they came here as a couple. They had a business and they used to collect blood or something like this on the internet. And if you go on the internet, you will find out that people are doing this. They are selling and buying blood.
Wow.
In 21st century, not here in Transylvania or Romania, but around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so there are lots of, I'm not gonna name them crazy, but maybe what is crazy for us, I don't know. Reality, it's a strange thing, I think.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay. Well, I didn't expect to come here and learn that they're real vampires.
I don't know if they are real or not. I think I heard that some people, they do declare themselves vampires, because that way they are not humans, they don't pay taxes.
Okay. Clever.
Clever.
Good secret, I'll remember that one. Thank you very much.
So there we go. You heard it here first. Vampires, probably real. If only for tax reasons. So if you don't believe in blood-sucking monsters, I guess there's always those folks at the Revenue and Customs Office. But still without all the myths and the spookiness to make this castle a worthy pilgrimage for any goth or wannabe vampire, this castle is still beautiful and interesting in its own right. It's a great way to learn more about Romania's history, to enjoy Gothic architecture, its beautiful decor, as well as taking in some amazing views. Which is a good time to go a little slow motion, I think, so you can enjoy it, you know? At a different pace. Get them right into your eyeballs. Yes, got it that time. I did miss the first time, but yes, it's the second wish that's the most important. And as you leave, you can buy pretty much anything you want, from whiskey to guns. Yeah, it's probably the only castle I've ever been to that feels a bit like a theme
Here
park.
I am amongst all these fantastic characters.
But hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I enjoyed it.
It's been an interesting experience, albeit quite a commercial one. It's rare that you get a castle that's sort of more interested in the myth and the history of the place, but you get a bit of both. But I think it's probably the right thing to do because people love it, so I don't blame them.
And I hope you enjoyed me wandering aimlessly around this castle. Next time I'm going to be wandering aimlessly around a mountain. I'm going to be getting a bit into the depths of the wilderness of the Carpathians. And I hope you join me. Cheers.